Eagles Entertainment.
Welcome, Eagles everywhere, to the Eagles Insider Podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. Hoping you're all having a great week, staying healthy as the holidays near and the second half of this 2020 regular season begins on Sunday at MetLife Stadium against the New York Giants. The Eagles have been dominant against the Giants in this series, winning the last 8 games, including one win on October 22nd, a squeaker, 22-21 at Lincoln Financial Field. So, you got to feel good about this game on Sunday. Eagles going into it believing that a lot of their key players, like Alshon Jeffrey, like Isaac Seumalo, like Lane Johnson, like Miles Sanders, like Malik Jackson, will be healthy and ready to go against the 2-7 Giants. In this Eagles Insider Podcast Tailgate edition, we've got a great show for you. Defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz plays a lot of respect. He back in the day in college, he played, like we all do, Jeopardy. And the recent passing of the host of that show, Alex Trebek, had Schwartz waxing poetic. He talks about what Trebek meant to him as his mind and mannerisms developed into an NFL coach. We'll do our Eagles fans with cool job interview with Rick Verbanis. He'll join us in just a bit to share his very unusual career path, and as well as his love for the Philadelphia Eagles. We're going to do our audible. We had Boston Scott mic'd up for his big game against the Giants back in October. We'll get to hear him on the field scoring that amazing touchdown late in the game. Our alumni interview, our legend interview with former Pro Bowl offensive guard Evan Mathis. We'll hear from him in just a bit. Let's begin, though, with Carson Wentz. Getting ready for his second half of the season. Looking around the huddle in practice, all of a sudden he's seeing the likes of Jeffrey and Seumalo and Sanders and Johnson, and oh my, the Eagles getting healthy at just the right time. It's one-on-one with quarterback Carson Wentz. We welcome you to our weekly one-on-one with Eagles quarterback Carson Wentz, presented by NovaCare Rehabilitation. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. Carson, welcome back from the bye week. First, before we get into football, what was your highlight of the bye week?
Spending a lot of time with my wife and daughter. I got to spend a little time in the woods, deer hunting and stuff. But being with my family, it's always tough during the season, during the regular weeks, and so that's always the best part of the bye week is just finally getting a chance to breathe, to see them, get my daughter out of her crib in the mornings instead of being here. All those little things. So it was fun.
What is her level of athletic prowess at this point?
I think she's going to be fantastic, but she's not showing any signs of it yet. So
you're not having a catch with her. You're not showing her the throwing motion yet. Still a little early for that. Now, in the woods, any success in the woods? I saw social media. You were romping around back there.
Yeah, nothing. No success last week. Had fun. It was a beautiful week, so that was nice to just sit and enjoy some peace and quiet out there, but didn't harvest anything yet.
All right, we are back to football, Carson. Sunday, it's the New York Giants up at MetLife Stadium. This is a team that you saw just a few weeks ago. So, literally, when you're watching film, don't you go, I've seen that play 40 times. How do you learn something from something you've seen 100 times?
Yeah, I mean, for one, you watch the last couple games and you see, okay, what are they doing differently now? How are they trending as a defense? So it is some of that, but a lot of it becomes more focused on what you do as an offense and how do you contribute game planning wise and those sorts of things, and how can you find intricacies in their defense in which we can attack with our offense. So it is kind of an exciting game when you have two teams that really know each other and just studied each other for a while. But it's going to come down to executing, and we're excited for it.
First drive in that game, it was beautiful, right down the field, touchdown, and then it was a bit painful. A lot of movement, but not a lot of points until the end. How did you see that performance on October 22nd?
Yeah, I thought it was frustrating. I mean, it was exciting to come out the way we did. We always talk about starting fast, and, we've kind of been hit or miss on that this year, but that game we were able to do that early. And then, we were able to get down there in the red zone quite a bit, had a turnover, had failed fourth down, had some opportunities that we just really kind of let slip away. And so we found ourselves in kind of a desperate mode at the end of the game where we had to go and score down by 2 scores, and we really pulled one out there. And so we're hoping that we can, sustain some drives and really finish in the red zone. We moved the ball well. We just got to find a way to finish down there.
All right, so the red zone, interesting conversation coinciding now with the return of number 17, Alshon Jeffrey. I've got to believe that in addition to helping from 20 to 20, inside the 20-yard line, having that big target is going to help things out.
Yeah, I mean, having Alshon, having Travis, and getting to work with him and having Dallas back the last couple weeks, all of those things really help what we can do in the red zone. And, you saw Travis last week or a couple weeks ago and the impact he has down there. And I think you're going to see all those guys keep stepping up, making plays. And defenses also have to account for those guys as well. So that's a big part of what we do.
And then Miles coming back, Carson. The Eagles really haven't run the football, I would imagine, as effectively as you'd want inside that 20-yard line. Miles obviously does that. How's he looked in practice? How do you feel about him coming back to the Eagles offense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, and I know fans are too. Miles is an exciting player. He's that guy he's the home run hitter. He can take a draw and run 70 yards and run around 2 guys. And so that's always exciting as a fan and as a quarterback. I mean, it takes a lot of pressure off of me and the entire team and the entire offense. So we're excited to have him back, and he's looking good, and we're excited he can help us. And Boston's done a tremendous job filling in as well. So both those guys really do a tremendous job in the run game and out of the backfield.
I guess I don't really understand the Giants' defense. A bit on the softer side, keep everything in front, mix up the coverage a lot, and yet they have so many takeaways. How have they accomplished that?
Yeah, I think it comes down to teams being patient, offenses being patient, because they do play soft zone. They do kind of try to give you some underneath things and keep, like you said, keep everything in front of them, bend but don't break type of defense down there in the red zone. So it just comes down to us being patient. Take what they give us, not forcing it down the field or forcing it into coverage and those sorts of things, and just playing smart. And they do some things well, and they rally to the ball. They do force some turnovers if you're not patient. So you got to be smart there.
What is your mindset now? 8 games to go in this regular season. The second half is here.
Yeah, I mean, for me and for everybody, it's a new season. The good, the bad, the ugly in the first 8 weeks is behind us. We know where we're at. We know where we're at in this division, and we know there's 8 straight games ahead of us, and hopefully more. So all that's behind us, and it's a new season, and we're getting some guys back. We're I think going to find a groove here, and we're excited for it.
Do you feel the energy getting Isaac back on the practice field and getting Miles and Alshon and making sure that Lane is okay there at right tackle? Do you feel the locker room kind of sensing what's ahead?
Yeah, you do. You feel the excitement. I mean, anytime you come off of a bye week for starters, guys come back and are excited and ready to go. And I think, just like you said, getting those pieces back and all of those factors combined, knowing where we're at and where we've been, that we're going to start putting these things together and hopefully go on a roll. You can tell guys are excited for it.
Carson, can't wait to see you on Sunday at the Giants, MetLife Stadium, 1 o'clock kickoff. The second half of the season begins. We thank you for joining us here. Our weekly one-on-one with quarterback Carson Wentz, presented by NovaCare Rehabilitation. Thanks, Carson.
Thanks, Dave.
And let's follow that up with our weekly riff from Mad Money's Jim Cramer, who has some words of advice, just 3 of them, for number 11.
I'm Jim Cramer, and welcome to my world.
You need to get in the game.
Firms are going to go out of business, and he's nuts. They're nuts. They know nothing.
I always like to say there's a bull market somewhere. And I promise
Mad money. You can't afford to miss it. Hey, I'm Cramer.
Okay, so we're in an NFC divisional contest, which means you can't just say the Giants suck, so therefore we're going to beat them. These are always closely contested games. So I have advice to, of all people, Carson Wentz. I hardly ever give advice to players. I'm giving this advice right now. And it's 3 words. Throw it away. And what I want Carson to do is pick somebody in the stands. There's not a lot of people in the stands, maybe one of those cardboard things. And when he feels like he's under pressure, just throw it at that stand. Throw it at that guy. Because if we have any more fumbles and if we have any more interceptions, we will lose against the Giants. And that would be a shame because, boy, we got Sanders back. We have so many great guys back. Maybe even Lane Johnson plays. So anyway, my advice, throw it away. Will give us a win against the G-Men.
Sticking with the on-the-field theme here, running back Boston Scott had another big game against the Giants back in October. We remember that great touchdown catch. Well, he wore a microphone. So the little guy came up big in the Eagles' backfield and down the sideline, as it turns out. Let's go inside his helmet and find out what came out of the mouth of running back Boston Scott against the Giants, October 22nd.
Yes, sir! Hey, come on! Stop playing with me! I owe your ass big time. Let's go! Thank you.
Hey, I like that, buddy. Proud of you.
Stop playing with me!
Hey, we made it.
Thank you! I made it. Steak dinner.
Jim Schwartz, Eagles defensive coordinator, a long-time love of the game Jeopardy, as we all have had on television. The recent passing of its host, Alex Trebek, a sad moment for all of us. He died at the age of 80 from pancreatic cancer. Schwartz earlier this week talked about what Trebek meant to him in his college days, kind of getting ready for the frantic pace of decision-making in the NFL.
Hey, Jim, a little off the beaten path here, but you mentioned over the weekend to Peter King, that Alex Trebek helped train you as a football coach. Was that, obviously people upset losing a legend like that, but was that tongue-in-cheek or were you serious about that?
No, I mean, obviously I didn't think he was training me as a football coach when it was going on. I was a sophomore and junior in college. I didn't even know I was going to go into coaching. We were just playing for fun, and it was an ultra-competitive environment. But, you know, you look back and you see the lessons learned from stuff like that, and you see the carryovers to football. It's not just getting the right answer. It's getting the right answer quicker than everybody else. You know, I've always talked to football players about this. It's like, you know, hey, what's 2 + 2? 4. And somebody else says 2 + 2, and they go 1, 2, 4. Well, both of them got the right answer, but the other one, the ball was snapped and the running back just ran right past you. So, you know, there's that. And, you know, when you're a defensive coach in particular, you're reacting when you make your play calls. You guys see, I very rarely have a play sheet or a call. I might have some notes written down on one small page, but that's about it. And the reason is you have to react to what personnel group you're getting, the down and distance, all those different things. You can't pick a play the way offensive coaches do. So I think that just looking back, that had a lot to do. And then just Alex Trebek in general, you know, his command over the game. You know, I thought it was always interesting. You never knew if he really knew the answer or it was just he sold it because it was written on his card. You know, oh, no, Henry VIII, not Henry VI, you know, like that kind of thing. Just having command over the game and the players. And I think the other thing, he did it for so long. He had such consistency. And it didn't happen by mistake. He was such a professional. He never flubbed a word. He never flubbed a syntax. So you knew that every question he had read probably 20 times. And that's, you know, it's a lot of questions on the board. He prepared himself, and it showed in his performance. So I think there's some carryovers. You know, practice is important. You know, I mean, big news flash there. Command is important. Thinking quick is important. Competitiveness is important. You know, those are the lessons that I learned from, you know, just watching a silly game show on TV.
One of my all-time favorite guys, Evan Mathis, was basically a journeyman offensive lineman. Then he came to Philadelphia, and then he became an All-Pro. One of the best in the game. We visit with Evan Mathis, finishing up his playing career in 2016. He's now living the life of a very peaceful man. Hi, Eagles everywhere, and welcome. It's our Microsoft Teams Eagles Legend of the Week. I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro with somebody I can't believe it's been 6 years since he played in Philadelphia, former Eagles Pro Bowl offensive guard Evan Mathis. Evan, good day to you, sir. You're looking good.
Good day, Dave. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to see you. How does it feel? Does it feel like 2014 is, 6 years ago, or does it seem like yesterday to you?
It seems like yesterday. It does.
How would you describe your years at Philly? Evan, it was really interesting. Your career was a strong one, and then you came to Philadelphia, and it became a great career, at least in our eyes. Is that kind of, as you put your career in perspective, that's how you look at it?
Yeah, in my journey, my my years in Philly were some of the best when it came to me finding myself as a football player.
Why is that?
I had to go through a lot of learning experiences the entire time. I know I was always exactly where I was supposed to be. I had a lot to learn. It also has a lot to do with the people that are there, the people that you're with. There are a lot of people that helped me find myself as a guard. Howard Mudd had a profound impact on me. Andy Reid, everyone in the building, all the energies in the building.
Howard Mudd, the late great Howard Mudd, a legendary coach. What made him such an effective coach?
Howard was a very good communicator. He's a very intelligent man who he kind of had a different way to talk to everyone, and he could see the potential in everyone. He knew everyone's abilities. He knew the techniques that would work for each specific person.
Evan, on kind of a half-joking question about Howard Mudd, there was a great Twitter handle, Howard Mudd's Facts. What was the origin of that? And in fact, were you the mastermind behind that? Is there any possibility of that?
No, I wasn't. No, it was just Howard is. I think Howard was. He's the type of energy that people wanted to honor. So you had these the account like that would spin up and make some witty remarks regarding Howard Mudd.
It was fantastic. And it seemed like he was able to, an eccentric guy, able to create a really good chemistry among the offensive linemen. And I'd like you to speak to that, Evan, how important that chemistry is to developing, just in general, great offensive lines in the NFL.
Well, chemistry in general is very important. Balancing everyone working together, finding ways to do things together, finding ways. The offensive line, it's really just a microcosm for any type of team or group working together. Being able to be on the same page, finding ways to work together, communicate together, and that's what it's all about.
You went from Howard and then Jeff Stoutland. Different styles of coaching?
Somewhat different. Jeff Stoutland also is an absolute genius when it comes to offensive line play. He knows it thoroughly. He is an expert and a savant in the art of offensive line play. Yeah, I'm kind of lucky as for an offensive lineman to be able to go from Howard Mudd to Jeff Stoutland and have that kind of experience with that much ability and that much wisdom. I was really, really, really lucky to be able to be with those guys and learn from them.
Evan, you played in the NFL from 2005 through 2016. You won a Super Bowl in Denver. Congratulations. What did you learn about being a Super Bowl champion? What it takes for a team to win a Super Bowl?
You got so many people trying to figure out how they can be on the same page, on the same mission, with the same purpose, and get things done. I was grateful for that opportunity to go there to win the Super Bowl. But life's not all about that. Life's not all about football. You kind of like...
No, I'm like, what are you talking about? It's all about football, isn't it? How is Philly to you as you look back, as a football city? And then also, did you experience the city at all, the city of Philadelphia, away from the game?
I loved experiencing Philly and the art of Philly and the history of Philly. There is a lot of good energy in Philadelphia. And, when you take a step back and you look at things, you put football in a balanced way. Let's take a step back and live life in a balanced way. Football is just a small piece of this puzzle. Philadelphia is an absolutely wonderful city. And there's a lot of great people there, a lot of good energy there. It's a there's a lot of great art in Philadelphia, a lot of great food in Philadelphia.
And they love the Philadelphia Eagles. Do you stay in touch with guys like Kelsey and with Lane Johnson and the people who were here when you and JP who are still here after all these years, and they played with you.
Yeah, the first two you named were pretty much the most I stay in touch with. I stay in touch with Jason Kelsey and Lane Johnson. Throughout our lives, we make a lot of connections with people, and these teams we work to build with people, and it's a lot of very important relationships that a lot of bonds that are built and friends that are made while working together on things like this.
You could appreciate the feeling that Philadelphia had when the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2017 season, and the legend that Jason Kelsey is, stepping up to the microphone at the parade, dressed in a mummer's costume and delivering this epic speech. I mean, the man will never be forgotten in the history. But that's no surprise, because anybody who's ever met Jason Kelsey knows you never forget Jason Kelsey just from the guy that he is and what kind of leadership he brings and what football means to him and just what teamwork means to him.
Yeah, Jason Kelsey is a very good person. He is a leader of men. He wants what's best in this world, and I think he has the abilities to do a lot for this planet, not just on the football field.
Now that you are out of the game, Evan, what is life like for you? Take us inside the world of Evan Mathis.
I've been working on finding my balance in life, finding a way to live a very balanced life, understanding that we have a certain amount of energy and that we are the source, and we can create whatever we want to create for ourselves in this world. And I'm currently working on, after balancing myself, helping other people find balances in their self and spreading unconditional love with people and trying to help people find ways out of their pains. I think the golden age of light is upon us. Where we are in the universe is exactly where we are supposed to be. And what's coming in the near future is going to be pretty divine. And there's been a lot of learning experiences recently for humans. And as we figure out how to balance our lives together collectively, anything is possible.
You sound like, Evan, that you're a man at peace with where you are in life. Is that a correct read?
Yes, I am at peace. And it is my intentions to help spread peace to everyone on the planet.
I love to hear that. It's great to see you. You look fantastic. You're healthy. Family? You have children?
Yes, I have 3 daughters, 8, 5, and 3. They are in school here in Brentwood, Tennessee, loving life. They're bundles of joy, shining rainbow energy into the world.
You're a great guy, Evan. It was wonderful to catch up with you a bit here. I always admired the way you really related to everybody. I thought your relationship with the Philadelphia media was always admirable. I've always said that the Philadelphia media and the fans get a bad rap. You came to Philadelphia and you made the most of it, and I think that's wonderful.
Yeah, I loved it. I love people. I really related to everyone in Philadelphia. I'm very grateful for all the experiences I had there.
Time now for our fan interview, our Eagles fan with cool job segment, Rick Verbanis. All right, Rick, you are my Eagles fan with a cool job, and I know that we've known each other for a long time. And first, before we get into your love of the Philadelphia Eagles, which is right up there with anybody else, you're kind of an entrepreneur. I consider you an entrepreneur. Would I be accurate saying that? Because every time I talk to you, you're into something cool.
Yeah, I have an entrepreneurial spirit. Absolutely, I always have. I've had a couple of companies that I was fortunate enough to launch and have success in, and I've do little things here on the side. So yeah, I have that spirit about me.
Tell me a little bit about the professional side first. What are the companies that you've been in, and what are you doing now?
Sure. So yeah, I'm a marketing guy at heart. So for the last 25 years, I've been in marketing on one avenue or another. I've worked at a few different agencies, handling marketing strategy for clients. I've done a lot on the digital side. I launched my own e-commerce website back in the day, and turned that into a successful business that I was fortunate enough to sell to an online competitor. And then, and I actually turned a lifelong love and interest of comic books into a business. I opened up a retail store and had a comic book shop for a while, and lucky enough to sell that to a local competitor. So yeah, I've done a lot of different things over the years, but I gotta say right now it is one of the coolest jobs I have as I work in pharmaceuticals.
Well, I mean, pharmaceuticals, Rick, let's be honest, are kind of running the world right now. Describe exactly what you do, where you're based, and then I got to talk about the Eagles because this is the really cool part.
Sure. Yeah, I've been, so for about 3 years, I've been with a pharmaceutical company where we reimagine medicine. And I work on digital marketing strategy in the oncology field, which is also known as cancer. And I work on various Novartis products to treat blood cancers, including a fairly new type of treatment called CAR-T therapy, which is CAR-T. And if you haven't heard about CAR-T therapy, it's pretty amazing. It's a one-time, individualized way to treat certain types of blood cancer. So essentially, Novartis takes the patient's T cells that have been collected by a doctor. We reprogram them by introducing DNA to make CAR-T cells. And then the physician places the reprogrammed cells back into the patient. And then the reprogrammed cells search and destroy cancer cells. So it's Novartis was the first company to receive FDA approval for CAR-T, and it's for children and for adults with certain types of blood cancers. Basically, they've run out of options. This is their last hope, and it doesn't work for everyone, but for those who do, it's a breakthrough in science.
Well, I mean, what you do obviously means way more than what I do. So keep up the good work, and let's hope that medicine continues to improve and that the success rate goes with that. Rick, let's talk about the Eagles and how you became an Eagles fan. I mean, I've known you for quite a while, and but I guess I'm not quite sure where it all started. Tell me.
Sure. So, my dad was an Eagles fan. Like a lot of us. We're second, third generation Eagles fans. And he took me to my first game back in 1985. And so I was lucky enough to have it go into overtime. And this was back at the Vet. And so the Atlanta Falcons came to play the Eagles. And so we're sitting in the nosebleed section of the end zone. And the Eagles are all the way on the other end of the stadium on the 1 yard line. And it's overtime. And the quarterback, Ron Jaworski, he throws to Mike Quick from his own end zone, and then Quick catches it at the 20, and he races for a 99-yard touchdown. And it was so amazing to be there in person. As the crowd erupted at the other end, and you could see this wave of people jump out of their seats, following Quick as he ran. It was kind of like a tidal wave. So I had known the Eagles before then, back in '80 when they went to the Super Bowl, I was just a kid. So, but that game really, really hooked me. And, I only went to 2 games with my dad, and that was the first. He passed away in 1994. But, back then in 94, I wrote to Eagles Digest a letter about that moment, my favorite moment, and you published it, and that's how we first met.
That's right. And through the years, Rick, I mean, we've been in touch, which has been great, and you've gotten your daughter involved in this, and, I really would love you to explain why it's important, what is the ritual that you've had pre-COVID, and kind of I've been able to help you out a little bit here and there, but I really always love the idea of getting the next generation involved.
So my daughter right now, she's 14. My son is 19, and it's hard to believe. But so I lived in Atlanta for 16 years. So I grew up in Delaware. I was a huge Eagles fan, and then when I moved to Atlanta, I started an Eagles fan club down there, and it was really fortunate that the Eagles came to play the Falcons like 6 times while I lived there. And so I'd have this annual guys weekend. So my buddies that were still in Delaware, I had another one that moved to Florida, and we do this guys weekend, and it always included an Eagles game. And so, that's what we did, like once a year. That was our thing. And so I think, like I said, I went to 6 Eagles games in Atlanta. We went to New Orleans, Miami, Tennessee, Carolina. I probably have seen just as many Eagles games outside of Philly as I have in Philly. And a few years ago, when I moved back to this area, I'm now in North Jersey in Giants territory, and I reconnected with my buddies to start doing the games, and it was like, you know what, let's make it a father-son game instead of just a guys' weekend. So because me and my buddies, we all have our older sons that had interest, so we started doing that. And then a few years ago, my daughter, she asked me, she said, when are we going to make it a daddy-daughter game? So yeah, she came to her first game, I want to say 2 years ago, and then we did it again last year. So, yeah, it's great. It's great, getting there with my buddies and all our kids, and we tailgate and try to make a day out of it, and it's kind of like an annual event we all look forward to.
It's a good parenting, Rick, to get your kids involved in the Philadelphia Eagles. Do they share the passion?
No one shares the passion like I have. They root for him, sure. They absolutely root for him. But no, I've kind of taken I'm more of the fanatic. They're more of the fans.
Who are your favorite Eagles of all time, Rick?
Over the years, there's been so many. I mean, Wentz, he's a great combination of like talent, toughness, character. Obviously Brian Dawkins. Loved Randall, Reggie White, the Minister of Defense. I'd have to go with my first, which was Ron Jaworski. So he was the first NFL player I remember knowing, and because he was Eagles quarterback, back in '80 when he went to the Super Bowl. And what a cool nickname, when you're a kid, Jaws, right? And, of course, he had other nicknames like the Polish Rifle because he had such a strong arm. But, he was my first. And funny story about meeting him. So back in '96, I was living in Atlanta, and the Eagles came to play the Falcons in September. And I went to the hotel where the Eagles were staying. Went with my wife at the time, a few friends, just to get autographs. And we were there for a couple of hours. And it was a long day. I just finished getting Ray Rhodes' autograph. He was a first-year head coach. And, I thought, like, all right, I'm done. And then my buddy, he comes yelling to me and goes, "Hey, Jaws is here." I was like, "Nah, come on, you're kidding." He goes, "No, he is." So I walk over to the area, and there's Jaws with standing in front of an elevator with Don Tollefson. And I have a rule, right? I don't like to interrupt people, if they're having conversations, if they're sitting down, having a meal, but if they happen to be passing by, sure. But this was Jaws, right? So I broke my rule, and I went up to him and I asked for an autograph. And he was so cool. And for the first time in my life, I'm tongue-tied. He grabs the ball, and he's signing it, and all I could say was, you were the best. and he smiled, he signed my football, and he said something like, those were good times back then. And then my friends came over to get some signatures too, and actually, funny is Tolly ended up taking the picture of all of us together. So yeah, I'd have to go with Jaws. And funny story part 2, fast forward almost 20 years later. So in 2015, I'm invited to attend a New Jersey Chamber of Commerce lunch by one of the speakers. And he knew I was an Eagles fan. And pretty much everyone who spent any time with me knows I'm an Eagles fan. So I get invited to sit at his table, which is the same table the featured speaker was that day, which is Ron Jaworski. So I actually got to sit at the table and had lunch with Ron and shared some stories. I told him the story of me being tongue-tied, and he was just a gentleman about the whole thing. He's a super nice guy.
He's a great guy. Now, the final thing here, the ultimate day for all of us, February 4th, 2018. Eagles beat the New England Patriots in the Super Bowl. Where were you? How did you enjoy the experience?
So normally I like to host Super Bowl parties. I like to, do that type of thing. But I do not like to be distracted while watching the Eagles. I don't. I certainly can't host. I certainly. So I was by myself with my daughter. I basically, I live in, like I said, New York Giants territory. So the friends that I've made here, I've been here since 2009. None of them are Eagles fans. So I tend to watch the games alone. So for that particular game, yeah, it was just me and my daughter. And it's funny. I actually, my fiance, she came over, so she started taking pictures of the two of us, jumping up and down and getting excited. So there's a nice little recording of our reaction of watching the Philly special play. So that's something I'll keep forever. But yeah, it's that's what I do. Living in this area, I have a finished basement, which is 3/4 of it it's a Philadelphia Eagles sports bar theme. So actual bar and movie theater and all surround sound, all that stuff. So I sit by myself. I pause the game on a 3-minute delay so that I can sync it and listen to Merrill Reese, and then I sit there and I text with my buddies back home. And that's how I watch games nowadays.
I love it. This weekend it's Eagles Giants up at MetLife Stadium. Now, I know that given all the physical distancing and all, in normal times would you have Giants fans with you watching the game, or even maybe be there at the stadium? I mean, but obviously maybe you can't do that this weekend.
No, I would never have the opposing team fans sitting in my house watching a game with me, just because I'm a good sport. I'm pro my team. I'm not anti your team, but not everybody shares that sentiment. So if the Eagles are losing, I get frustrated. So to have somebody else get joy out of that just makes it even worse. So no, I don't mix and match. I have plenty of friends who are Giants fans and love them to death, but not during game day.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience, where you can find games, news, and highlights all in one place right on your TV. Follow the teams you love across your favorite sports. You can even use the voice remote to access stats and scores. With the Xfinity Sports Zone, everybody wins. Now that's simple, easy, awesome. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Don't miss your chance to be in the stands at Lincoln Financial Field this season with an Eagles fan cutout. Put on your game day best and upload a photo of yourself so that you can still join us on game days. Fan cutouts printed by Rico are only $100, with net proceeds benefiting Eagles Autism Foundation. Your purchase will also waive the registration fee for the 2021 Eagles Autism Challenge event. Order yours at PhiladelphiaEagles.com/cutouts.
And that will do it for this Eagles Insider Podcast presented by Lincoln Financial Group. I want to thank Peter Kelly, Ray Doyle, Trevor Hayes for their work putting this all together. Thank you for joining us each and every week. And if you have a moment to give us a 5-star review or whatever you feel fit, please do so in the details section of your podcast library. So I'm Eagles Insider Dave Spadaro. Big one on Sunday. Eagles at the Giants, another NFC East game. Eagles got to keep on winning, get to 4-4-1. That would be huge, as the Eagles would then begin a stretch of games against plus 500 teams, the most difficult part of this 2020 regular season schedule. Thanks for joining, everyone. Have yourselves a great Eagles day, and fly, Eagles, fly.
E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles!
We want you to know about all the podcasts in the Eagles network of podcasts. So make sure you tune in to not only this Eagles Insider podcast 3 times a week, but make sure you subscribe and listen to the Eagle Eye in the Sky podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, our Journey to the Draft podcast Tuesday and Thursday, and our Eagles Update podcasts, which give you the news in a flash, Monday through Saturday throughout this 2020 season. Sign up, subscribe, and listen to our Eagles network of podcasts.